Hi, my audience on Dominus Nisi on 88.9 FM. I'm so excited to introduce a wonderful woman of many different areas and making movements in Ballarat area. That's why I'm going to introduce wonderful. Can I call Sia first?
Yes,
Yeah,
please.
welcome, Sia,
Thank
to
you.
our program.
Thank you.
Sia, tell us about yourself. Tell me about your name and your book and where you're from.
All right. So, hi everyone. I hope you all are doing well. And my name is Harvinder officially, but Sia is the name that I got after I got married
Mhm.
from my in-laws side because they wanted something more culturally sensitive, something which can get more culturally integrated and readily accepted because I was coming from a Sikh family
Uh-huh.
and getting married into a Jain family. Like Hindus and Jains, for me, it was all the same thing,
Mhm.
when I got married. But now I know it's different,
Different.
their pathways are different.
Mhm.
So that's how I got this name Sia. And in my journey of married life, it's this year we are celebrating 20 years of our marriage.
Oh,
And
congratulations.
thank you. And 8 years of togetherness before that. So altogether 28
28 years.
years
Yeah.
of togetherness. And as soon as we got married, I experienced so many hurdles in my way to my aspirations because everything had to be, accepted and verified, before I would take any step.
Mhm.
Any of my decision had to be proofread by the whole family.
Mhm.
So I thought, Sia is not a good name. It's just associated with adversity because, the Queen Sita, she went through so many tests in her life.
Mhm.
And I started to believe that, I am also going through those kind of tests,
Mhm.
and I didn't want this name,
Okay.
after some time.
Yeah.
Initially, I felt it was really stylish, Sia, and Harvinder is like a unisex name. So so I always thought, it would be so much better if I had a feminine name. But this name and the connection with Ramayana and the test that Sita was put through, so I was like, no, I don't want to be called this. So 4 years later, I was like, no, I want to go back to my name Harvinder.
Harvinder. Yep.
But now I'm embracing it again because I've overcome all the adversities,
Okay.
and my learning from my adversities has become my book.
Yeah. I
So
love the name Wife in India.
thank you. Thank you. Yeah, and the name has interesting story as well
Mhm.
because I did neurolinguistic programming in
Mhm.
order to be able to, reframe my
Mhm.
story so
Yeah.
that it can become education.
Mhm.
And while I was doing that, I was like, wired in India would be a good name because, we are wired in patriarchy, but educated in Western school system, which
Mhm.
gives us critical thinking.
Mhm.
And, because we have critical thinking, now we want to live a liberal life.
Mhm.
Now we want to be equal to our husbands. And we believe as soon as we get married, our husbands would automatically start treating us as equal partner,
Mhm.
but that never happens because we are wired in India. We are wired in patriarchy,
Mhm.
and that to 100,000 years of patriarchy. So,
Yes.
breaking that is not easy.
It is
And
hard.
then my main protagonist is the woman because, it is sort of 70% my story, but also inspired by other women that I have met and helped.
Mhm.
So I thought, giving it a spin, wired a spin of F inside, wife, would sound
Oh,
more
okay.
interesting.
I
So,
was more thinking
yeah.
about you will be talking about more of like, your name change, your life as a wife and things like that. But
Yeah.
it's really good to like, think from that mother or motherhood or whatever the life that we had in India and then coming back to
Yeah.
a country like this and changing all different things. I
Yeah.
love that. I was going through different areas and different topics that you are excited to talk about it. And then I loved that, patriarchy is if it is connected to feminism,
Mhm.
it should not go. into two parts. It should be in partnership for this
Yes.
21st century. I like that
Yes.
idea.
Yeah.
But anyway, before going into that, because that's an area that I am keen and to understand more for our side of the council in the Windham area. I know that you are doing in Ballarat and you are working as a family violence advocate that space. Can you tell us about your current community work that you're doing in Ballarat?
Um, so the project is top secret,
Okay.
but I can talk a little bit about, the nature of the project. So the project actually focuses on spreading awareness
Mm.
to recognize uh, red flags that, normally we miss out or
Yeah.
overlook as married women, as newly married brides. We normally overlook the control, the dominance of the man. We think he's going to change in due course. And as a result of that, we endure that kind of dominance and control for years and years. Yeah. Until we lose ourselves, we lose our identity, and then it becomes like we are living an inauthentic life, and that's not peaceful to us. We don't feel content, even, yeah, though we might be in a household where the income is good, children are on the right path, everybody is thriving except us.
Yeah, and maybe internally.
Yes.
Outside, you will be like,
Yeah.
high five, very
Yeah.
happy wife and everything. But
Yeah.
you, as a
Yeah.
person, your identity must be like in a mask and then
Yeah.
showcasing another face that maybe like always a smiley wife, but inside must be crying and then not even having a mindset of like living a life in this world. I
Yes.
can
Yeah.
really resonate and feel that.
Yeah.
There are many people in this side of the world as well.
Yeah.
So Ballarat is really taking initiative to find out the red flags, right?
Yes, it's
Okay.
about prevention of family
Mm.
violence. The project is about that.
Yeah.
So if we are able to recognize
Mm.
and address the red flags initially in the relationship,
Mm.
then we are more likely to be in a negotiating kind of state of mind.
Okay.
You
So
know?
are you
Yeah.
are you looking after the project? I know that it's
Yes, I'm
secret
leading the
project.
project.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then what can be an outcome? Is that as a policy reframe or is it a new law or something? Or what will be an outcome?
So eventually there could be changes in
Mm.
or some amendments in the policies, but for now it's more of a learning
Okay.
from the community, because we want to be culturally sensitive. One size doesn't fit all the
Yeah,
communities.
exactly.
So some learnings that might work for Western communities or European communities or Asian communities may not work for South Asian.
Yeah.
So we are, adapting the program as per the cultural background
Yeah.
of the community leaders.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
great. Because I think that's what I can clearly see that, in New South Wales, the Clare's law is actually going and then putting too much effort to put into the parliament. And some people, even politicians, are against it. And then they're not really worried about these red flags or what is happening with this domestic or family violence and the impact that's going through that particular person because they must be looking at whether the kids are safe, that's good. Whether your financial settlement is done, that's good. Or we are giving, healthcare card and then making you, better, and then you are giving legal aid. So you are safe. You are going through the system. But I feel like it's a systematic issue. It's already there because they actually losing the point that you are not touching that person as a mind, soul, body, that whole person, and what's the identity of that person, what exactly that person want to do in this life, and they're totally ignoring that and then not doing anything about it. They're really worried about that system of family and their kids and their well-being and everything. But I think your area is actually making a real change in that area. But tell about your personal journey. Like, you realized that coming from two different cultures, coming as a partnership in marriage. And obviously, there will be different ideas and different rituals and different customs that you used to do especially in Sikh and in in your family area. How did you picked that, and then how those actually those incidents or moments, maybe learnings, impacted you personally?
My first shocking moment was when I was going through this Hindu Jain wedding, and then my father was asked to do Kanyadan. So I don't remember in Sikh rituals we have Kanyadan.
Okay.
Maybe I was a child, I never, paid attention. More focused on having dinner
Yeah.
or partying. But when in my marriage, I saw that ritual. I was shocked that it is still performed. I thought, it was in history books, but later on when I was researching about the case of my book, the plot and the subplots, I figured out that the Marriage Act in India, it gives a provision in Section 7 that wedding which is culturally solemnized is acceptable.
Okay.
So that means that if it is solemnized as per patriarchy, then it's accepted as well.
Oh, okay.
So unknowingly, you are actually signing up for patriarchy. You are naive as a professional woman. You're working. You're equally participating in all the chores, all the responsibilities. But at the same time, you have been given away to the groom by your father. So that was really, really shocking. And I think that subconscious programming actually makes the man entitled
That
eventually.
yours.
That
Yeah.
that he owns you and the
Yeah.
custody has been changed. And so you are at the bottom of the food chain. And when you're at the bottom of the food chain, you don't have equal seat on the table, and so you can't really claim to be a partner in marriage. So to be a partner in marriage, you need equal seat on the table, and that has to be accepted socially as well.
Okay.
Yeah, because that's the programming that stays when people have left. From your wedding, from the dinners at family, because all that is a show. But what really happens within the family environment is your actual life.
Yeah.
So over there, what plays is the unspoken food chain.
Yeah.
And these
So
rituals
it's
are
more of like,
important.
yeah, the rituals, we think that, okay, that's our tradition, we do that.
Yeah.
We don't really go behind the scene. And I do remember that, back in Kerala, where I'm from, we do have thali so they usually put the thali around the wife. So if you feel that it's more of like a surrendering totally to the husband, but it's a very holy, I would say, like a nice ceremony that we took that as a very auspicious time to get into that marriage. But if you look at behind the scene like this, we unknowingly telling that, we agree or we are taking over that patriarchy and
Yes,
then
yeah.
not even making any changes in our
And we are
life.
smiling for the pictures, and we don't even know what we are signing up for, and that's the paradox.
So
Yeah.
what are you doing? I know that you are doing many different things and to make that change, especially here in Australia. Tell me about your moment that you're doing at the moment.
So at the moment, I have my personal social media presence through which I'm raising awareness by demonstrating the balance between me and my husband.
Yep.
So through different awareness videos, that's what I'm showing, and also through the content, digital content that I'm putting up in my social media. So all my friends and followers, they get to see the way I'm living. I think that is very inspiring, for people, because then I'm not pretending to be, this person who believes in this philosophy, but then at home, I'm not really living it. So that's one thing, step that I have taken, that it's really important to show that it's possible. So my, whether it's my book or my social media content, they depict that. And now I'm also a finalist in Mrs. India, and that's my purpose, to take my book to the next platform where I can spread awareness about this cause, that transition from patriarchy to partnership is possible within your own relationship. Yes, the transition time could be different, because there are different kind of characteristics in every person. Some people are consciously narcissist, and some are unconsciously narcissist. So when people are unconsciously narcissist and they are dominant figure in the family as a patriarch, then it needs time to make them aware, and they might agree to make changes because they were unconscious and now they have become aware, so they are ready for it. So bringing them into that transition, but softly. And then there are conscious narcissists, who want to actually use power and control, and you may not be able to do anything about it. So when you may not be able to do anything about it, then it's really important you recognize the red flags on time, and safely exit out of the relationship on time. So releasing that relationship while keeping your sanity, and while understanding all your socio-economic implications and options, is also very important. That's very practical. Because exiting a relationship could be really dangerous for a woman. So there are so many risks involved. So that's what I'm trying to communicate over there. And also I do NLP coaching, so I have my own way of personal breakthrough, and the product's name is the soft code, which is reclaiming your own self first, and then figuring out what you want to do with your relationship. Because it's all a reflection of how the pathway you want to take, to achieve what you want to achieve in your life.
Yeah, that's one thing. I think it's more of like, telling your brain that's not the truth. You need to connect with your heart and then rewire your brain, because lots of generational misconceptions are there from, I think it's mainly for people from India. There are many, like a huge, ideas which is already there, like, connected and maybe composed because of this patriarchal mindset. And then even women are pushing and forcing that to maybe to the next generation, knowingly or unknowingly. Many different places, mother-in-laws are the real figure making all the trouble, right? But they never think that they were a daughter-in-law before that. But anyway, it's a different path. But being in Australia, you are making that movement that changes, and I can see that you are getting different, awards and nominations. So tell me about the story that, you started here, that when you started here, your life, you felt that the isolation and then all those, like, your own life experiences. So, how did your husband help in that journey?
So when we migrated around 16 years ago, we both were software engineers in India. So thankfully for us, IT was in boom here, and it was easy to take up a job. So transitioning economically from India to here was not an issue. But when it comes to making decision, and particularly coming from India, we are big on investments, wealth management, and having too much focus, on the future, and not thinking about our present. That was my most important area of conflict with my husband. That we need to live our day-to-day life as well, not just save up for the future. And so it took a little bit time, to bring a balance, to his between his ideology and my ideology. And it was hard. It was really hard, because he thought he was right,
Mm.
and there was only one way to live, and that was his. And the way he grew up was, men always take decisions, even though I was earning, and I was equally contributing to family. But and that was my sore point, and it did lead to our breakup
Yeah.
at the one point, after we came to Australia. And but we learned a lot about each other, after we separated. And we put all our learnings into rebuilding our relationship. And the second time when we got together, 8 9 months after separation, we got together as partners, as conscious coupling. So that was the biggest learning, and we haven't looked back since then, because we have learned, and we have built on top of
Yeah.
our learnings.
I think it's more of like you learned about yourself and husband learns about himself and that partner mindset rather than, you're my slave, you do whatever I want to do. From there to that equal mindset is where the real partnership works. I do remember that we met in one of the programs, and then your husband is so lovely to meet him, and then wonderful gentleman. And I can clearly see that you are doing this together. So I would really acknowledge the commitment that the other party is taking. When you empower a woman, you need to really be submissive and on their ego as well. So I would acknowledge that, because only the person who really motivated to bring the wife up, then they can do it together. So that's a blessing in your life, I would say. And I clearly understand the time that you were going through that separations, that your lessons that you learned, or you were rewiring and then trying to make a promise, that you had a purpose, you had a passion, and now you promised to make it happen. So actually your personal life and your struggles actually giving a good idea to my audience, because there are many people hearing me and listening to my stories and my sessions, but they feel like, oh, I can't really leave my husband. That is a status quo. That is impacting my kids. That is impacting the whole family. So I should suffer, or I take that as a, like, my own, what we say, like, I'm taking that without anybody's advice, because I need to keep that family going up and running. But what will be your advice or your call on that mindset of woman at the moment? And it's not one or two, and it's not a, like, single story. There are many people, women in this Australia, especially, suffering because they feel like, okay, I have a wonderful life here financially and maybe socially as well, but emotionally they're hiding a lot. What do you think about those type of women?
Yeah, but very good question. Um, First of all, we must understand what emotion is. So, emotion is a measure of how safe or unsafe you're feeling. It's a biochemical that gets produced in your body, and that's how your body, your brain, your mind, and all the organs know whether you should act in a survival mode or you should be calm and creative. So the moment you start losing your cool, you start becoming hysterical, you start snapping at people, I think that is the moment you need to pause and think about what's happening in your life. What is pushing you to this state where you have lost your sense of humor, you've lost your calm, and you have started attacking people. So that's the first symptom, that when you're in survival mode. So if you have paused and recognized that, then it's really important to take advice. It's good to speak to your GP, it's good to take help of services. Probably speak to a therapist, a psychologist, or employee assistance program at your work. I used employee assistant program where I worked. And it's good to take independent advice, and three or four independent advices, and then then you can figure out whether you are on the right path or not. Because it's really important to listen to your body and stay calm and creative.
Yeah.
If that's not happening, then something's really, really wrong in your life and you need to investigate.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I like the point that you mentioned, becoming calm, because
Yeah.
that self-conscious mindset is where all the work happening. Because otherwise, all these echoes around you telling that you are the wrong. But when you be calm and then understand what exactly happening and what I want as an identity,
Yeah.
that's where they need to take a decision. But it's so hard for the people at this community to take a real decision. Like, maybe you take a break and then re-evaluate the relationship and then come back
Yes.
with some.
And in fact, in India, if I remember from my childhood, whenever women had differences with their in-laws or, I can recall from like 40 years ago, with their in-laws or with their husband, they would go to their parents' house and live there for like 3 to 6 months.
Yeah,
You
but
know?
here we don't have option
Yeah.
because they have all these two faces and then they don't have any place to.
Yeah. And taking a break, some fresh air, and rethinking, and it's a good time to re-energize, and thinking the future you
Yeah.
want to have together. So it has always happened. We have stopped doing it.
Yeah.
We should start doing it again.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And again, with this
Yeah.
real, like I would say, like atomic life, only two people in the room, in the house,
Yeah.
and even in that whole life, that's
Yeah.
the other thing.
Right.
I know that in your, like, all your conversations, you always talk about the connections that you got from Bhagavad Gita.
Yes. Yeah.
Can you share the motivation from that holy book?
Sure. Yeah. Very, very attached to Krishna and his blessings in my life. I read the autobiography of a yogi by Yogananda because someone recommended me, and that book inspired me. So reading his journey of life and his choices, to stay single and work for community whole his life, that really inspired and intrigued me to read his Bhagavad Gita translation that he had written. And when I started reading it, I understood the religious or the ritual aspect of sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system, which at that time I was reading in neuroscience as well, and human anatomy as well, because I was doing myotherapy. And so when I, correlated them, I was like, they are saying the same thing.
Yeah.
Like Bhagavad Gita is so modern. We just don't know the research behind it.
Yeah.
So that, that kind of restored my belief in ancient scriptures.
Yeah, because the reason I really want to connect with that today, I read in LinkedIn that one of the top speakers was telling the real response or remedy for imposter syndrome is actually from Bhagavad Gita. So he was actually putting up those stories over there, and then I was thinking about you, and then that's a very valid point. Like holy books like Bhagavad Gita, Quran, and even Holy Bible is actually having the jewels, the gems that you can really relate in your life. And sometimes we forget about that core values that you need to really go through and really digest that thing. So because I think wherever your core is there, that's where all your fruits are coming up, right? So you can really connect with that core values, and then you are doing that. And I love the way that you've showcasing the feminism mindset, and through your dressing, through your through your way of showcasing the feminist mindset. It's not, feminism means it's not against anybody. It's more of like an accepting and believing the value that
my feminine energy,
yeah.
my feminine energy, because that keeps me creative. And that's what I share with my husband, because he's masculine and I'm feminine, and that's what I bring to table, and we balance each other. And so that's why claiming your feminism is really, really important.
Yeah, and then you need to really put that out there because
Yes.
sometimes you feel like feminist means it's against everybody. It is not. It's
I
more like
break that image actually.
and that's what my studies are actually happening. Like,
Yeah.
feminism and faith is actually the core for your real survival and
Yeah.
empowerment because
Yeah.
people think that, oh, she's feminist. No, she needs to bring that feminism
Yeah.
mindset, feminine activities and ideas into the table to bring I would say fulfillment of,
Yeah.
of a journey of a life. I'm really conscious of the time, but I do have different questions. But I really want to check with you as a person, what will be your top three rules to keep calmness in your life? As a NLP practitioner, as a women empowerment person, what will be your top three?
Top three rules are exercise empathy.
Mm-hmm.
If you have different point of view to the person you are speaking to, try to understand their worldview.
Mm-hmm.
So expanding your empathy never puts you at loss.
Mm.
It produces compassion in your heart.
Yeah.
For the other person,
Yeah.
where they are sitting, where they are coming from. So, and that's number two, compassion. So first empathy,
And then
second compassion, and third kindness.
kindness. Yeah.
So when you are compassionate, you would never be mean to anyone. You will always pick your words and your actions carefully. And there is a fourth one too, which is really, really important, and that's discernment.
Okay.
And you have chosen your words, you have chosen the action, but when to do it, when to say those words, when is the right time.
Yeah.
That's really important, and that's what Bhagavad Gita teaches you, these four virtues.
Yeah.
And when you inculcate those virtues, uh, and your values, when you align both of them, then non-duality happens.
Yeah.
And that's when your imposter syndrome also goes, and you claim your authenticity.
That's great. So you heard that, right? That's a real gem from Bhagavad Gita, but that's what she's practicing in this world in Australia. So if you want to connect with her, I will be putting her contact details down this video. And thank you so much, Sia and Harvinder, coming from Ballarat to the studio and then having this wonderful conversation with us. Thank you so much.
Having me. I had total pleasure speaking
Thank
to
you
you
so
today.
much.
Thank you.
So thank you everybody for this wonderful show, listening to us on 88.9 FM. And you will be listening to the Tamil show Vanisai soon with Kumar and the team. Then I'll see you again next Friday, same time on the studio 88.9 FM. Dominus Missy. Thank you very much.